Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and this is a first look at the Waffle Flower grip mat. This is actually what they're calling a re-release because there was a previous version of the grip mat that is or was already on the market by Waffle Flower, but they've actually made some changes. They've introduced some different sizes, and as well I think they've changed the guide and I think the materials, because I got a information sheet and it says that if you are familiar with the previous version, this one is going to actually be stickier. And as well, the printed guide is slightly smaller so that it actually can fit onto the grip mat without it's a little bit more easy to position it because it is smaller than the mat. So, as per usual for my product review videos, what I'm gonna do is, in this video, this is just my first look. It's my first experience with the grip mat, and I haven't opened these yet. I was sent this full bundle that you see here by Waffle Flower, and in their invitation letter to review their product, they don't require that I even post a review. So, as you all know, if you've seen any of my product review videos, my opinion is my own and I don't hold back. Especially with my first look videos, I can't help what comes out of my mouth sometimes as I'm experiencing it. So the two sizes I have are the 6x6 and the 5.5 by 8.5. They do have some bundles available, and some new sizes. So it looks like the new size, one of the new sizes is 7.5 by 11. This is actually the largest one, I believe. No, actually, there's a 6.5 by 8.5, which is larger than this. There's a new size of a 4 by 4, which is their small one. So it ranges from 4 by 4 to, I guess, 7.5 by 11 would be the largest. That is pretty large. That's almost a full sheet of paper. Okay. So, let's get started. And the whole idea behind the grip mat is so that you can stick your stencil and paper onto this and not have it slide around on you, which I think is great because, especially since I've started, so if you've been following my journey of my work surface, I went from a self-healing cutting mat to the scrapbook.com silicone mat, and now I'm really loving the glass board studio mat. And the only thing with this is when I had the silicone mat for a time being, it was actually pretty nice because it, paper didn't slide. So it was really nice, but now on the glass mat, everything is slippery. So this is going to be really fabulous, and this is photopolymer, and you want to peel, when you're peeling this, it is pretty sticky. When you're peeling this, you want to peel the plastic back, bend the plastic, don't bend the, it's basically a really thick blank stamp, because you know how your clear stamps, the good quality ones are photopolymer? Well, that's the same material as this. And it might be a slightly different formulation, but it's at the base the same type of material. And the grid mats, let's look at these. So, why do we have two? I think they're the same. They are the same. And yeah, I thought maybe one would be maybe metric and another would be Imperial. Okay, so looking at this, I am not inclined to use it. I'll be honest. I'll try it for sure. The one thing that I can see straight off is that it's really hard to tell like where every 1 inch is. And so I'm assuming the dashed lines are every 1/4 of an inch. Let's measure it. We can quickly verify that. But if I'm actually, like, I think this is good for lining things up so that they're straight, which I think is mostly what they are meant for. But if you actually need to know measurements, it's not going to really give you that. And so yes, these are gridded to every 1/4 of an inch. And the bold line, from bold line to bold line, oh, that's helpful. That's 4 1/4 wide. So 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. Let's see what the lines are. My guess is for the larger mat, the grid line might be your A2, maybe some of your more popular card sizes. That would be my guess. So let's look. Yeah, and see, this one actually denotes it. So this actually says A2, 5x7. That's really good. That's really nice. I like that. I would probably be inclined to use this, especially, although I wish they had the center line bolded, because if you have, let's say you have an A2 panel, right? And it's like that. Well, you've covered up the centering mark here. So if I wanted to really try to center an image or center a stencil or something, I would need centering lines out here, outside of my that box, that A2 box, so that I could still see, as I line my stencil up on top of this, where the center is on something. But I like it. I like the demarcations, so that's kind of nice. And one of the things that it says is to prevent because this is printed onto acetate, the lines here, and it cautions that if you want to avoid the printed lines actually kind of removing when you peel it on and off, if you choose to peel it on and off of your grip mat, that you should actually apply the guide to the mat with the reverse side facing away from the mat. So if I'm understanding that right, this is the reverse side. And I think I can feel the ink. So this should be away from the mat. So yeah, this feels slick. This I can sort of feel a little bit of something, not a ton. And if you want it away from the mat, then you want it like that. Which kind of makes sense because you basically stick it, if I'm correct, you basically stick it onto your mat the way that it would be legible. So that kind of makes sense, and it is smaller than the photopolymer grip mat, so it's gonna be easy to line up on here. So that's kind of nice. But like I said, I don't know. I might use this one. For the smaller one, I don't know that I would. But I'll try it. And we'll see. We'll see if I end up liking it. And with this, it's kind of the same. This would and I'm guessing I don't know why you would need two. I don't know that you would ever put 2 on at the same time, or if we have 2, just to have one as backup, which, if that's the case, thank you. I love when companies understand that, sometimes we have oopsies, and for stuff that's like not super expensive to just include an extra of, it's really, I always find it really nice when they do that. So that's really cool. Now, let me cut down some cardstock here so that we can have a little bit of a play. I'm gonna use all the things that they sent me, and let's just make an A2 panel. I'm guessing the bundle includes things that you would normally find useful for to have a grip mat. So let's open up this bundle. So thank you to Waffle Flower for oh, this is so generous. Thank you, Waffle Flower, for sending me this lovely bundle. And oh, there's a coordinating die. Hey, this is so cool. Sketch chrysanthemum. Oh, I love this. This is a layering stencil. Oh, this is so fabulous. Oh, I love it. Okay, so let's make sure I understand how. Okay, so these two go together. I think the flower has... Oh, it is numbered. The flower has light... Oh, how fabulous! Okay, I think this is... It's gonna be hard to read, but... This has... It says 1, and it says light. 2, medium. And then 3, dark. 4, light, the leaves, and then 5, medium. So I love that they've, not only have they numbered it, but they've also given you kind of a little bit of a guide as to what to choose to color. Oh, this is cool. The Postage Collage Blocks Stencil. I think they have a die that matches this. I might want to go pick that up. And here's the stamp that coordinates with this. Oh, this is so cool. Okay, so let's give this a try. I'm very excited for this. Alright. So what I'm gonna do, and look at how generous, Waffle Flower even sent me some enamel dots to finish my card or project with, so that's really cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to stencil first, and then I'm gonna stamp over it so that my stamp lines are nice and clear. And I will, let me go ahead and try this out here. Okay, so I'm gonna peel the acetate. And the first time you peel it back, it might be really tough. But it's just like when you get your, if you've ever done any gel printing, the first time you peel off the acetate on your gel plate, it can be a little bit tough, but it'll get easier the next time. So this is the only side that I actually need to be grippy, but I want it to stay still on my glass mat, so I'm gonna peel the back side off too. If you have like a silicone mat and this isn't sliding for you, then you might not need to do this where you release both sides. But oh, look at how sticky that is. Okay. So there's that. It is pretty sticky. I mean, it's not super sticky, but it's gonna hold just fine. Now, there are some suggestions to try to use very smooth cardstocks because they are gonna be gripped by this mat a lot easier. So you can see, you know, it's not so sticky that it's just going to like hold this and like, you know, tear it or anything like that. It's not that kind of sticky. It's just as the name would suggest, it's just grippy so that as I do any ink blending on this, it's not going to move on me. So so that's wonderful. Let's see how big. So this needs to, if I'm gonna center it, it might need to be something like that. So number 1 is this one. Let's make sure I use it on the correct orientation. So I need to be about there. And so I'm just gonna push this down onto my grip mat. So you can kind of see it's not, I'm tugging and it's not budging. So that's really lovely. So now that's ready for me to start stenciling with. And now to pick some colors. So I'm gonna need a light, a mid, and a dark. I don't know what color. Oh, chrysanthemums sometimes come in. What color are chrysanthemums? I don't even know. So I'm just gonna use these because that's what I have. I don't know if that's realistic or not. Okay, so I've got some pinks out, and I'm gonna start with my light as per the instructions. I actually just cleaned these blending brushes, so I just want to dry it off so that I don't have, my color isn't watered down too much. Okie dokie. So let's check this out. Now, the stencil's being held down by where it touches the grip mat. And this is a nice size, the 6x6, because I still have plenty of area around my A2 panel. But just keep in mind that it's not, you know, your stencil is still these little areas that kind of curve in. They are still unattached. They're not, you know, they're not held down by anything. So I would still be a little bit careful if you are blending. You don't want to blend against them because it might curl them. It might, if it was like a really thin bit of mylar, it might actually tear the mylar or ruin the stencil. So I'm just gonna try to keep it a little bit darker towards the center and lighter. Even though this is like a layered stencil and every layer is going to add some extra depth and dimension, even within the single layer, I don't know how it's gonna look when it's all layered up, but I'm still gonna aim for a little bit of dimension by keeping it darker in the center and a little bit lighter on the outer petals. Okay, that didn't budge at all. This hasn't budged one bit, which is nice because this is how I stencil. I often have to like hold. I have a lot of the smaller inks, and so I often need both hands, one to hold the ink, or I prefer one to hold the ink and then one to do the blending. So I can't dedicate an extra hand to holding down the stencils and stuff. So so this is really nice. That worked out pretty well. lifting this pretty easy. Now we go to number 2, and okay, I think that's positioned in the right spot. So go ahead, and it's mostly on this side where it's touching the mat. So even though it's only gripped on that side, that's still plenty to hold this in place. See, it's not budging. Okay, now we go on to our next color. And wait, is this? Yeah. I'm using Versamagic, which is a really nice pigment ink. It's a nice, like a chalky pigment ink. Okay, so these are smaller openings, so I'm just gonna pounce a little bit. And oh, this is so pretty. Oh, the stencil is really nice. So again, just trying to keep it a little bit darker on the outside and a little bit lighter, or darker in the center, a little bit lighter towards the outer petals. And here's what's nice. I can kind of peel this back and get a little bit of a preview. Oh, I like this aspect because I know this is going to hold it exactly in place. So I kind of like being able to lift it like this and get a little bit of a preview. That's kind of cool. All right. And I think we're good there. Then I need my number 3, which is this one. And it says dark. So I think your first clue when you're positioning is just make sure that you can read it. Make sure it's in the direction where you can read it. And then line it up. So here it just so happens I can actually tack it down on both sides, and then we'll go with our darkest color. I'm gonna go really light with this. And on this stencil, I'm gonna try to be careful. Oh, I should have. Oh, not too late. This right here is really close to that opening. I'm just gonna mask this off so I don't accidentally stencil through an area that's not meant to be stenciled through. I think I can safely avoid those open areas, but that stem was kind of close. Okay, so get this. And maybe one more round. So let's see. I still kind of want to preview this. Let's peel this back a little. I think I want to go darker. I like getting to be able to kind of preview it and have some confidence that it's just going to settle right back in place. Oh, see how I got a little bit of ink there. I should have masked this off. Not too late, just in case I do more ink blending. So just be careful, because this single mask, it does have multiple designs on it. Cool. Maybe I'll put some embellishments there when I go to finish the card. Okay, so that is our flower done. And on this one, because the next color, it's going to be the stem and the leaves, and I'm going to need to switch to greens, I am going to wipe this ink on here now, clean it off now, so that I don't cross-contaminate my next blending brush. So I'll just wipe that off really quickly. And then let's, now here, it would actually be nice to have the stamped image already stamped, or have the image already stamped so that I know like exactly where to line this up. Because on its own, there's actually one little curve here. Yeah, there's one little curve where I can maybe try to fit it in and line it up exactly with the flower. So if you want to stamp first and then do your ink blending, it's going to line up better for you in the end. Because how I have it now, you know, there's a little bit of wiggle room. There's a little bit of play here where I might not have gotten that lined up just right. But I think this is going to look okay without the lines. So I might leave this without the outline. So now for the greens, we need a light and a dark. So let's go like, well, I don't know how light I want. Let's go with that. Okay, and this is a pretty open one. So I might actually use two colors because the leaves only have two stencils. They have just the light and the medium. But what I might want to do is maybe, well, let's start off by masking off the areas that I don't want to accidentally stencil through. And maybe what I'll do is, this should be light, but I'm going to do like light and medium, and then also do dark on the second. So let's do this is my light. And so start with this. I'll do a layer of this all over. Okay, so it's funny, I was still holding down the stencil the way I would normally, but I don't have to do that with this because nothing's moving. Okay, so that's my lightest green, and what I think I'm gonna do is just darken some areas up a little bit with a medium green. So I start off here. I'll darken just towards the base, coming outwards, and the stem. Okay. And now for the final. This is going to be what they've numbered as 5. And just going to position that there and tack that down onto my grip mat. I'm going to mask off the areas that I don't want to have ink go through, because they are kind of close. Okay, and then time for I'm using a third green, but really if you just used 2, that would be how they've designed it. And same thing, I'm gonna kind of go light on the outer edge and a little bit darker towards the stem. So we get a lot of color variation. Just a little bit up here. If you want to mask off your project too, in the areas where it's like a little close to your stencil, that would be a good precautionary measure to take also. Especially if you're using a bigger brush than is, what you're stenciling through. If you're using the stencil brushes where it's more of a pouncing, I think there's less chance of accidentally kind of blending outside. But let's see. Oh, I got a little bit outside. I'm not the best stenciler, folks. All right. Look at that. How cool. All right. So now I think if you wanted, you could take this and you could put it right into your Misty, and it would replace the mat in there, and that way you can kind of grip your panel as you stamp. But look at that. So really fabulous. And it does say that if you need, like if I had blended a little bit of ink onto this, you can clean this with just a little bit of warm water. If you need soap for some more stubborn stains, then you can use soap. Just make sure to rinse it really well. If over time, kind of like with your gel plates, you want to keep the acetate on here just to kind of protect it from dust and debris. But over time, as you're handling it, as you're using it, you might find that this loses a little bit of its tackiness. It loses a little bit of its grip. And if that's the case, just cleaning it with some soap and water will help with that. So, and I can tell that it's a little bit different, even though it's photopolymer, it's a little bit different to their stamp, because this is like crystal clear, where that is a little bit cloudy, and that's by design. It should be like that. So I think I lined this up actually pretty okay. So I'm gonna try to stamp on this, and we'll see if I can line that up. Although I kind of like how it looks like this. I'm gonna stamp another panel just so that I can play with this mat a little bit more, and I'll do a second one, but I don't want to mess up the one I've already stenciled. I kind of like how that turned out. I mean, I had some oopsies, but it's not the end of the world. So let's cut this down and 1/4 by 5.5. Okay. So far I like it. I haven't ever used their previous one, so I can't say how this compares to the first version, besides what they've told me in terms of the differences to expect if you have used their first version. But I like it. I mean, it does what it says. It grips. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to try to use these mats more, even though I can't immediately see myself needing the printed guide. I can't see myself needing it a ton. But what I am going to do is I will apply it to the mat and just see, because sometimes you don't know that you need a thing until you have it and it's there. And then by the nature of it just existing and being there, you find uses for it. So let me know though in the comments if you've used the previous version, if you have any questions you want me to try to find answers to. And what I can do is in my follow-up review, because as per usual for my product reviews, I generally have like a first look, that's this video, which is my first impression, and then I try to use the product for a good, month or two, just to develop a more well-informed decision, and then I'll come back with some concluding thoughts on it. And I'll say as a comparison, what I would normally do for holding down my stencils, since using the glass mat, is I just use the magnets to stick it down. But I'll tell you right out of the gates, the magnets they don't really offer you that preview of being able to kind of peel it back and have it flip down. Like, the fact that I could do that, that's almost kind of like if you were to tape it down and use sort of that hinge method. But what's nice is then we're not having to waste our tape, because this is sticky. You can use it over and over again. You don't have to apply tape every time you go to stencil. So there's that. I stamped a lot of times just because I like it to be really, really dark. So I think otherwise this would have stamped just fine. And I didn't prime this stamp at all. So there's that. And I'm not gonna stencil this in this video. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and save this and work on it a little bit more off camera and using the grip mat. But so far I really like the grip mat, and I want to again thank Waffle Flower for sending it to me for a review and sending me all of these lovely products to try it out with. And I'll leave links to everything in the description box below if you want to check out the grip mat yourself. I know that there are some bundles if you would like to get a combination of plates, because sometimes having different sizes, I can totally see that being helpful, especially if you have to craft on the go. You like to take some craft supplies with you if you're traveling or visiting a friend, and so having smaller sizes can be nice, like the 4x4. I could see that being super convenient. And so I'll leave links to where you can check out the new re-release of the Waffle Flower grip mat. And if I can find these products, and if this is an exact bundle, I haven't even checked, I'll link to that as well. So thanks for checking out my first look video of the Waffle Flower grip mat, and check back in a month or so and I'll have an in-depth review with my concluding thoughts, and I'll let you know if I'm still using it and whether I'm still using the printed guide. Thanks so much, and until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye.